Welcome to Stories with Steve, a podcast on the Central Buna Podcast Network. Every Thursday in 5 minutes or less, we'll lift you up with stories of how God works behind the scenes in our lives. Romans 8:28 tells us that God works all things together for the good of those who are called according to his purpose. Now with an encouraging story, here's Steve.
So let me ask you a question. If you had the superpower to remember every single moment of every single day in your life, would you? Wow, that's something to think about. That could be a blessing or a curse, right? Did you know that there's actually people in this world, a small number of people, less than 100 people verified that have this, it's called hypothymesia. I think I pronounced that right. Also known as superior highly chronological memory, where people can remember every single thing of their lives. They can remember vivid details of what they did on a certain day. They ate breakfast. And wow, that's an amazing to think about. But you know what? In the course of history, people have had that also. Going back to Pearl Harbor generations ago, or even the John Kennedy assassination, which I wasn't born yet. I was alive, but I wasn't born yet. I guess I should explain that. My mother was ironing clothes and watching TV when President Kennedy was shot. So I was alive. But the point is, she knew exactly what she was doing. She remembered what she felt. And that's the same way it was on September the 11th, 2001. Most people can remember exactly what they were and how they were feeling on that day. And it brings back such emotions. And so on this September the 11th, I thought it'd be appropriate to just talk about that a little bit. Like, wow, do you remember just where you were and what you were doing? Flashback, the night before, I actually attended a service with Dr. Jerry Falwell. It was across the city of Houston. A friend of mine said he was going to be speaking to the church. I thought, well, that's cool. I'll drive and go there. And ironically, he preached on the second coming of Christ that night. And so after the service, I felt this spirit of expectancy, like God's getting ready to do something. Not that he's going to come back that night, but I almost felt like something in my heart was going to happen. And so I woke up early that morning. For some reason, I had a radio by my bed, and I turned it on, and I heard that a plane had hit one of the Twin Towers. And I'm like, what? It must have been a small plane. And then I went to the TV, and I saw on television the tower go down, and just the feelings, the emotions he had, the absolute shock all day long. But what's interesting, the aftermath of that in America, there was almost a mini revival that took place. The next Sunday, churches were packed because people were looking for answers. People were wondering, why did this happen? Why did God allow this to happen? What was the reason? What does this mean? And I actually attended a football stadium full of people where people joined together. And so for a short time in America, we weren't red or blue. We were red, white, and blue. And everybody was just looking for answers. And Dr. Billy Graham did a service at the National Cathedral, and he just talked about, without saying, we don't know why things happen. We can't definitively say. There's kind of a mystery of evil in this world that we live in. But we know that we're here for each other, and we know that God can take good out of everything. And of course, one of my favorite scriptures is Psalm 139, where the Lord says, every day in our lives has been recorded. That means the good, the bad, and the ugly, the ones that we remember, the ones that we want to forget. Somehow God still uses those things in our lives to work to his ultimate goal, his ultimate purpose. And so that's what's encouraging to me, that when things like this happen in our life, the things that were meant for evil, that the enemy tried to bring in our lives, that God is still able to work it for good in our lives. And that should be an encouragement. That should give us, just every single day as we wake up, opportunity. We shouldn't live in fear. We should live in faith, and just knowing whatever happens this day, God's going to get me through it, and he's going to use it somehow for his good and his ultimate glory. And so I hope today that if you have some memories of September the 11th, you'll take time to comment maybe what you remember about that day, and just other experiences of what God has done in your life. And thank you so much for listening today. And remember, you've got a story to tell.